Hi, Eric Lanask here in Miami, Florida. We're here at ITEXPO East, and I'm talking with Jim Dalton. Jim's from TransNexus. Jim, thanks for joining me. Great to have you.
Eric, it's great to be here. Thank you.
So I know you were you're part of a panel on fraud in the telecom space. How big of an issue is fraud? Tell me, where does TransNexus see fraud and the issues?
Well, Eric, fraud has been an issue for telecom operators forever.
Sure.
But it's never really hit the voice over IP operators really until the last couple of years. And we're hearing it across the board from our customers that what happens is their service providers, our customers are service providers, they're serving enterprises, and these enterprises are getting hacked. Their PBX is getting hacked. There are all sorts of tools on the internet. Probably the most notorious is a tool called SipVicious. They hack into the internet and start generating a lot of calls. And there are all kind of different scams that people have to profit from these free calls. And what happens is, they generate a tremendous amount of traffic. The enterprise customer ends up with a big bill. They don't realize they've been hacked. They're not going to pay it, and that leaves our customer, the service provider, on the hook for a lot of international calls that they've got to pay for. So it's a really big problem that's popped up in about the last year or two. So it's a new problem, and each event can cost between $5,000 to $50,000. So it's serious.
Wow. So what is TransNexus doing to help out in that regard?
Well, we're in a great position to really capture fraud or detect fraud because for our customers, we see all the CDRs as they stream in. And so we're looking at every one of those CDRs from every different source, every IP address, and we're looking at where those calls are going. And when there's an unusual spike in traffic, particular dial codes or from an IP address, we can detect it and we can block those calls, those specific calls to individual country codes, for example, right there. So it stops fraud in its tracks before it's really a serious problem. And that's how we help our customers.
Do your customers typically find instances of fraud well after it's too late?
That's really what's happening today.
Yeah.
Is fraud occurs on Friday and they don't realize until Monday morning, oh my gosh, we've got 1 million calls to Ivory Coast or some other exotic country like that. So that's the case that's happening right now. They don't have the tools in place to detect this traffic pumping, and that's what our system does.
So cost, obviously, you mentioned somebody's got to pay for these calls. Are there impacts on the network as well?
There definitely there's certainly some network impacts, but really it's the cost. It's just there's plenty of bandwidth. It's not so much using about bandwidth. It's just cost to high termination countries that really runs up big fees in a hurry. And if you're the middleman serving enterprises, they're not going to pay the bill. You're stuck on the bill to your long-distance provider, AT&T. You can't stiff them, so you've got to come up with the money.
So what happens? You got a customer who realizes that somebody's on the hook for $500,000 worth of calls from last Friday, says, hey, Jim, help me. How do I stop this? Or how do they come to you?
Well, our customers are already using our software. We upgrade them to this latest release that has these fraud detection features I mentioned. And we also, for other customers, we have a new product, SD Reporter, that's going to have this fraud detection capabilities built in. And so they don't need to be using us as part of their routing or overall operation control system, but they can just survey or monitor their CDRs as they come in with this new product and get alerts when there's suspected fraud.
How much fraud is out there that goes completely undetected?
Well, it always gets caught because it's a big bill. So it's just a question of how quickly does it get caught. So, just about every service provider that we work with says, this is a recurring issue. And they're taking, rudimentary things to try to catch it, but they need something that's faster and easier. It'll stop it sooner.
Got it. All right, Jim, it's been a great pleasure talking to you. I'm glad you're able to stop by.
Great. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.